we were
then the environment was cleaned up.
First time I was hearing about this stuff. Wow. It was totally new to me.
Odeh with Social Impact Consulting. Hello everyone, my name is Efwa Odeh with Social Impact Consulting. I'm a development consultant with 20 years of experience working with NGOs, international NGOs, and bilateral agencies to work in project support, monitoring and evaluation, and civil society strengthening. So now, I saw that local NGOs lack the capacity to manage large-scale projects, which can in turn impact their various communities because they have the connection based on their backgrounds. So this made me create this channel so that I can add value to you for free once you subscribe to this channel and get notified of upcoming videos. I look forward to hearing from you. Development Sector Series, which is Devsectorseries. Are you interested in sponsoring Devsectorseries? Please call me at 234-703-539-8086. As we spread your brand, we spread around the world. And as we do that, we're all changing the world. So let's work together. Contact me so that we can maximize social impact. I look forward to hearing from you. Hello everyone. How y'all doing today? Hope everything is fine. Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Development Sector Series, which is hashtag Devsectorseries. Make sure you like and share this live streaming so that we can get this information to more people. This helps the algorithm to share it, and then it's able to spread quickly. In addition, let me know where you're watching from so that I can thank you personally, okay? So wherever you're watching from, just let us know and then we take it from there. Those of you on YouTube, please subscribe, click on the bell notification so you're notified of future streamings and videos from, me. So if you're on Facebook, there's a gray icon at the bottom of the live when you start watching it. I just turn on the notifications so that you know when I go live, okay? Today, we are going to be talking about leading large-scale development projects with Lydia Odeh, the Chief of Party of Palladium, USAID, strengthening civic advocacy and local engagement. SCALE. Now, Lydia is a very respected colleague of mine who I've been trying to interview since early this year because she has been extremely busy because she's running a multi-year $33 million project, which is a scale project, which takes a lot of time and dedication. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to listen to her video bio before we get started. And then once you're done listening to her video bio, if you have any questions about leading large-scale development projects, let's hear it. And you can also introduce yourselves and let me know who is watching. And then we're going to introduce our very special guest, okay? So, okay, well, there she is. All right, wonderful. So we're going to play her video bio and we're going to bring her on shortly. Lydia Odeh is a system strengthening and civic engagement expert with more than 10 years of experience in capacity building, transparency, accountability, and good governance issues, extractive governance, fiscal responsibilities, policy formulation, gender and social inclusion, results-based monitoring and evaluation, peacebuilding, and organizational development in Nigeria. Lydia has over 9 years of experience leading the implementation of development activities in Nigeria. She also has 5 years managing USAID-funded projects, One laudable one is the Strengthening Advocacy and Civic Engagement project implemented by Chemonix International, where Lydia Odeh was the Deputy Chief of Party. Lydia is also an expert in grants management, policy advocacy, strengthening civil society organizations, and networks. She has a proven record of leadership, excellent communication skills, building and maintaining positive working relationships with national and local government stakeholders, partners, and donors. Allow me to introduce to some and present to others Lydia Odeh, Chief of Party, Strengthening Civic Advocacy and Local Engagement Project, SCALE. Hello, Lydia. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Efwa. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I know it's been long coming, but
I'm telling you, I've been bugging you for months. Like, man, hey, you got a lot to share. Please, 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 folks would love to hear you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's really amazing because I'm very fascinated about my colleagues that are very stealth and work in silence. They work quietly. You just see the outcomes just flowing. You know what I mean? But they're just doing the work, working with their dedicated team, and then just making it happen. And it also adds a little icing on the cake is that you're a woman and you're able to balance all this and still really be phenomenal. So thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Awesome. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you this question before we talk about leading large-scale projects. What does leadership mean to you?
Thank you, Efwa. I'm glad you said what it means to me, because leadership means different things to different people. But I guess the first thing is, when you're a leader, you've been called to lead and to guide. And then for me, really, it's about inspiring people. It's about motivating people, about learning what different skills people bring. And, I'm really talking in the context of my current role and, previous role where I've had the opportunity to lead a team. It's being able to make sure that everybody understands the goal, have the same vision that everybody's heading towards. There's this saying that you don't have to be best friends to be best team players, but the whole idea is that, even if you have any issues, you all key into one particular goal and you're working towards that and you have interest in seeing results. So for me, it's really identifying who the weaknesses that exist within your team, identifying the strength that exists within your team, and also trying to leverage those individual strengths for the individual weaknesses. See what people bring into that team. So you do have to recognize that. And one thing from my experience that I think is also key for a leader is also not making such a big issue about mistakes. When people fail, for instance, I'm using that very loosely. But, really thinking of how you move from there, from that particular mistake and get the issue done. Then you can come back and address it. And addressing it not from the point of finding faults, but really from the point of learning from it so that in the future, such things don't repeat. And I've found that for a lot of times, mistakes even help you develop new ways of doing things. Then also, when I think about leadership, it's also, constantly being on top of your game. So, by the way, I've been in this sector for about 18 years. So, so it's...
you've been around a minute.
Yes, I have been. So it's also recognizing that there's really no end to learning. You constantly have to learn, because if the project, for instance, projects you as the leader, then there is some kind of expectation that you have to prove that you're entitled to that role. So, for me, it's really about really motivating your team and getting the best out of them. I think that's kind of like the key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that feedback in terms of leadership, knowing what the goal is and working with your team and finding out their strengths and weaknesses, and then leveraging on each other's strengths and covering their weaknesses. And then at the same time, really, being on top of your game and knowing what you're doing. So that is really, really good feedback to that question. So from that now, let's see. From now, how do you feel like, you've like you said earlier, you've been in the sector for a while. So how do you feel like the sector has been thriving through various projects? Like, you've led a couple of large scale projects. So do you feel like the sector in it of itself is thriving through various projects in Nigeria?
Yes, so I would say yes. I know that there is still a lot of misgivings about the sector, and there's a reason for it. I recall there's this joke that we used to make, that when you have new graduates and they cannot find a job, they would either maybe float a church or establish an NGO. And, so that has sort of created, when you say that you're working with an NGO, you have an NGO, for instance, people begin to wonder what your intention is. Is your intention really to serve, or your intention is just a space to make money? And even sometimes when you tell people you work with an NGO, there's, you guys are the ones that are getting all the money. So there's some of that misgivings that we see out there. And I'm not saying those things are not happening, but those things don't take away the impact of civil society and the NGO sector in development. In the first place is an association that is guaranteed by the Constitution. There is freedom of association, but so there's a legal basis. Hello, Efwa, have we lost you? Hello? Hello, Efwa. Okay, looks like we've lost Efwa. Give her a bit of time to come back in.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. Just a little.
Yeah, that's technology. Anyway, so back to what I was talking about. We're talking about how the sector has been thriving through various projects in Nigeria. So the point I was trying to make is how important civil society organizations have been for the development in Nigeria. I know it does speak about gaps within government, because really what civil society is doing is filling the gaps of what is expected from government. And I think that they've been doing this tremendously in a range of area. If you take, for instance, issue around SGBV, for instance, or trafficking in persons, you will find out that civil society organizations are really the ones that are providing most of the shelter that these survivors or victims, as some people like to call them, require to help them transition back into the society. Are you talking about health? You know, when we had that huge outbreak of HIV/AIDS, you know, we the role of civil society, we really can't talk so much about it. Issue of governance, how civil society has been pushing for policy reforms, especially if you look at like SCALE, the project that I'm currently managing, which is geared towards good governance. And the whole idea is how we strengthen the capacity of civil society so that it can do this work better. And it's some kind of like an endorsement that civil society is doing very good work. So when you see donors begin to put funding in certain areas, it sort of says that yes, we recognize what you're doing and we're willing to enhance your capacity to do more. So that's kind of how I see the work that civil society is doing. The fact that there's even though we're in the middle of a pandemic and we know that it's affected donor funding somewhat, but we still, now that things seem to have stabilized a little bit, we see that donors have continued to fund the sector. And it's really a testament that the sector is doing great work across so many developmental sectors. So yes, I think they're doing, you know, from where I stand, they're really doing a good job. And we look forward to the time when government, you know, will take on more of this role, so that civil society, yes, because that's really what government is there to do, so that civil society can take more of social roles, and government is more responsible for the development of different sectors that people require to live a good life. But for now, we haven't reached there, and civil society will continue to fill in those gaps.
Yeah, we'll continue to fill in those gaps, and a lot of our colleagues, even throughout our interviews, have said the same thing, that civil society has really filled in that gap, you know, of where government is not able to or doesn't have enough funding to, like you said, SGBV, and even I think, and there was something you know, the ED of an NNGO said, Oyebisi, he said, you know, street kids, you know, a lot of them, the shelters, they come from the NGOs and what have you. So I feel like civil society is here to stay. It's just that collaboration with government and creating that more enabling environment where civil society can continue to thrive, you know, with even a more open civic space. So so we're gonna go into the next question. So, you know, you've led projects and you're leading one right now. So what are some key skills to implement successful projects?
Yes, skills. I think this is kind of linked to what I talked about when I talked about leadership at the opening. I think that one of the very first thing that you need to do when leading a project, it's making sure that the goal is clear. And it's not just clear to you, it's clear to the team. Because sometimes you find that maybe it's the leader of the team that really understands the project. But what you get in a situation like that is that the team members become more like foot soldiers, you know, people that you ask to do this and they do that, but they're not thinking themselves and they're not helping you bring their creativity into the implementation of that project. So I think it's really important that everybody understands the goal of the project and everybody keys into the vision of that project. They really know what the expected result is, and then they understand it within their role. So that's really important. And then something else I think is also very important is communication. Do not second guess. Do not imagine. If there are things that you're thinking about, speak about them. If there are things that you're worried about, speak about them. If there are things that you're doing, you need to share. So the point of sharing is really important. I've had examples, where things happened, and I had one concept of what it was, and then maybe like 2 months down the line, I realized that it was something else. And a lot of things could have gone wrong. And one of the things that I emphasize then is that we really need to communicate better. Don't take it for granted that I know these things or I'm supposed to know these things, but do communicate better. And I think it's also important that you're able to you have the skills that enable you to solve problems, because every project would have issues. Even with a team, there will be conflicts. You're going to get to a point where things that you plan don't go as planned. And that brings me to the point of being adaptive. You have to learn to be adaptive. You have to learn from, like I mentioned earlier, from your mistakes. So that's there are some projects that don't give you a lot of wiggle room to be that adaptive. But for me, from my experience, maybe because I've worked a lot in the governance space, and the governance space is where you have to really be adaptive. You're doing work that is controlled by the political economy analysis that you're supposed to be conducting every day. The changing context. When things change, you need to adapt to those changes to begin to drive whatever process that you're driving. And I think it's really key for whatever project that you're implementing, because context has changed, stakeholders change, even funding stream can change. How do you adapt within the situation that you find yourself? So I think that's really important. And it's also important for you to share your successes, as you're implementing projects and you're recording early results, you really begin to share them. So disseminate out of your project. Let people out there become like your champion. Let them be the one talking about your projects, because you've really brought them into the picture. And that sort of leads me to the next one, which is stakeholder engagement. And that's something that we're really doing on this project, on the SCALE project, really engaging stakeholders. And one of the reasons is, in the first place, there are diverse skills that is not embedded in one person or one group of people. Like I said to my team, there's only about 21 of us. That's a very small team. No matter what we bring what we bring on the table, it won't be enough for what we need to do. So we have stakeholders out there that come with different kind of skills, different kind of experiences, different kinds of ideas, that can really help your project to thrive. So how are you engaging those stakeholders? And then not just taking from them, but how are you also making it look like their own project? Because at the end of the day, what you're doing is to help governance in Nigeria, and that impacts everybody. Really. And how are you even communicating back to them? So you're not only getting inputs from them or feedback from them, but you're also communicating back to them as effectively as possible. And the last thing that I want to talk about, and we can come back to this, is also, the success of your project is really your project is really as successful as your team.
I see.
So how do you make sure that your team come to work happy to do, to really do the work? How do you keep them excited? How do you keep them, motivated and really, we own this project. We really need to see it work. And people don't get to the point where they begin to see this as just a paycheck. How are you? We have found out in the past that some team members come in with some personal issues, and there's the danger that you're only focused on the work and then you ignore those personal issues. But it's those personal issues that really inform the work that they're doing. So how do you even create space where you're able to understand what's happening with people, so that it begins to tell you why they're doing what they're doing, and if there are ways that you can support them, if there are issues that are affecting their work. So people don't just do something wrong and then you just treat it from on face value. But just really showing them that I care about you much beyond the work that you're doing. So just really making sure that you have a good team. It is what will drive the success of your project.
That's really interesting. I feel like you've talked on mainly the common theme on based on what you've said in order to lead successful projects is communication, really. Because you said start with the goal in mind, which is what you would communicate with your team, and then how you would even constantly communicate the successes of the project, how you're able to engage stakeholders, and then how you're even able to engage your team and make sure that they're happy and there's goodwill and they want to do the work, which is and I feel like this cuts across not just development projects but projects in general. So thanks for that very extensive response to that. So we're going to go into the next question. So do you think, I think you mentioned earlier about the perception of nonprofit organizations that when somebody finishes serving, they are either, starting an NGO or, doing something else. So, so obviously there's an influx of that, but they are also very good and very successful organizations, as you mentioned. So do you think in general, nonprofits in Nigeria possess the capacity to run large scale projects like the one that you're running? And if you feel like they do and they don't, what do they need to prepare for that?
So, Effa, to your first question, I'll say a big yes. There are non-profit organizations in Nigeria that are capable of running large-scale, multi-year projects. So that's a big yes. But the question now is why are they not doing it? Why do we still have organizations like Palladium in the middle? And those fundings not going straight to these Nigerian organizations. And I'm sort of proud to say that's one of the key goals of the SCALE project, to make sure that we have more organizations in Nigeria that of directly implementing donor funds. But yes, there's a reason why we're not seeing a lot of organizations. Oh, it looks like we've lost you again. You come back.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. We've been having a few network glitches today. You know, thank you. We were just about to like, but so purposes. So, do you think nonprofits in Nigeria possess the capacity to run large-scale projects, and what do they need to do to prepare?
Yes, so let me say welcome back, Efwa.
Thank you.
I'm the anchor this time. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things with technology. It's not perfect. So I think people understand. Like I was saying, I was giving more like a yes and no response. Like yes, we do have non-profits in Nigerians that have the capacity to manage large scale projects, and we have started to see them. We do. Well, even beyond the popular names, like the plaque, the Slack, we're beginning to even see smaller or newer organizations that have really push themselves into that space. And one of the things that I have seen with this kind of organizations is really around the leadership commitment. So that brings me to the question on what do they need to do to prepare. Because at the end of the day, what donors are really looking out for is that we can entrust our funds with you. I mean, that's the bottom line. Even though donors want to see your trajectory, they want to see how well you have done in the past, the projects you've implemented and how well you've implemented them. Oh, we've lost FY again. Sorry, everyone. We'll just wait for her to come back.
Hello, Lydia. So sorry. It's kind of like not the best network connection since we've started these series. So I guess we gain some, we lose some, but you know. So
We
just
have to do this again.
we have to do this again. but yeah.
All right, no problem. Let me. I know that we're losing some time, but I mean, it's fine. Like I said, it's technology. Um, but are you hearing me? Okay, F1. Hello, F1. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. And things better. So again, thank you all for your patience. Okay, so Lydia, I'm just gonna have you get right to the answer, and hopefully the network will let you finish talking. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I can just make a point, and so we can move on. But the point that I want to make is that it's really about the perception. Donors want to be comfortable that they can put their money in your hands and you can manage them. Yeah. So so organizations really need to up their games. To show that you can entrust us with your funds. So in addition to doing very good work, you can entrust us with your funds. So, and that's around building your systems. Your systems. Once your system go beyond that, even if you, as the person that started the organization, the CEO or the ED, even when you're not there, that organization continues to run. Really have a succession plan where you have established an organization that runs even without you. So really, so let me just stop there. That's the quick points that I'd like to make, and I'll let you move on with your questions.
Okay. Thank you so much. Just a second. So, so tell me, so how do you feel like non-profits? In fact, I think it's even following up with this question. How do nonprofits like really get these systems together to now be ready to run these projects? Okay. Just a second. So you're currently overseeing a large scale project, which is a USAID-SCALE. Can you just give us a sense of what some of the lessons learned, like what your experience has been ongoing in terms of working with your team, working with the various stakeholders, like you said earlier, and working to even become an effective communicator? So like, what are some of the lessons learned?
Okay, so that would all be a lot because we're only 1 year. We turned 1 year last
Okay.
month. Yes, but yes, very quickly. One of the things that I've learned here, I've already talked about really motivating and keeping your team inspired, and appreciating what they bring on the table. So reward them for good jobs, and then just show understanding when things go wrong. So that's one. And something again that I've learned is the importance of stakeholder engagement, and I've talked about that. So I just want to bring that on the table. Now, for a project like Scale, we've really appreciated bringing diverse range of stakeholders with different experiences and different skill sets into the room, and that has really helped us to redefine certain strategies, to enhance certain things that we're doing, and even to change certain plans. So I think it's really important that we co-create with stakeholders, especially when you're working within in a complex project like this that is across sectors, across the country. You do need to bring all of these people into the table. So that's one thing that I have learned. Another thing that I want to also put in quickly, I've already talked about communication, so I will not talk about that again, is really having a very good relationship with your donor and listening to them, because sometimes what we see the donor have on paper is a reflection of what they are thinking, and you don't really understand what the background information is until you speak with them. You have a good relationship that they're able to engage with you informally and give you those kinds of things, those kind of information that help to guide your work. So it's really important that you have good relationship with your donor or the representative of your donor that works with your team. Those are some of the big lessons that I like to share here. Since we don't have a lot of time. Yeah.
Interesting. in terms of engaging with stakeholders and then even engaging with the donors. That's what I, when I teach organizational development, I talk about donor engagement. If a donor is able to let you know what you're thinking, like if a good sign with the donor, if they're saying, this is what I'm thinking, and this is how we believe that things should go, taking on their suggestions, that's a good sign, because they feel like there's a good working relationship, even from writing the proposal and all the way to implementation. So thanks for that. Thanks for that feedback. You've already talked about stakeholders. You've touched on stakeholders throughout this interview. I just want to just kind of ask you specifically, how do you feel stakeholders engage in these large scale projects? Because in these large scale projects, it's very multifaceted and multi-stakeholder based. So how do they engage in these kinds of projects?
I think the first thing is that when you're managing a large scale project, there's a lot of interest that's involved, and for you, as a leader, it's also managing those interests. But I think engaging with stakeholders, it's first of all, you have to be able to make them recognize that they are appreciated and their inputs are appreciated. And I talked previously about communication, just closing the loop, not just feeding out of their experiences and their skills, but also coming back to them with communication and even showing them how some of the inputs that you've received from them helped with your project. So really, being appreciative and just making them understand that the project is really about us. I really do like the SCALE project. If you look at our typeface, it's green and it's deliberate because we represent Nigeria, and that's one of the things that I project when I have opportunity to speak with stakeholders. The fact that the SCALE project is managed completely by a Nigerian team, and it's implemented by Nigerian organizations. So we don't have any experts from abroad that are supporting this work. So I've tried to project the understanding that this is our project, and if it fails, it's on us, and if it succeeds, it's on us. Yes. So I think it's really important that stakeholders know that they are being appreciated, their inputs are being appreciated, whether large projects or small projects. We do need to engage stakeholders, and then just being very appreciative and recognizing their skills. And then we do need to identify the specific skills that stakeholders bring to the table. So it's not just engaging them just because you want to put it on record that we're engaging stakeholders, but strategic engagements. You're recognizing specific stakeholders for specific things that you want to do. You're recognizing their skills and you're bringing the right people into the table. So it's engaging, but more strategically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that response, in terms of making sure that one thing that you said that really stood out is really taking ownership. So letting them have a say, and then also letting them know that, look, it's our project, and if it doesn't work, it's on us. We can't blame any outside party. So I'm just gonna go into the comments and some questions, and just give a few shout outs. I see Dr. Egmoha is watching from Lagos, and I see Dr. Maria Dirisu Naboya is watching from Lagos as well. Mrs. Martina Opere Amofo is watching from Lagos, and Dr. Maria has a question that I'm going to share in just a second. Mrs. Esther Ede Imaijekweme, Mr. Greg Inaholo, Mr. Chris Omofoma Omije is from, he's watching from Uromi, Edo State. All right, Uromi in the house. Then we have Mrs. Ekwasi Egbe. Thank you. You're just such a supporter. I appreciate you. We have Mrs. Iwelume Charity Ngozi. Thank you so much. We have Andre Echono is here. He says, my COP. Okay, all right. Then we have from LinkedIn, we have Gloria Naki Apore. Thanks so much for watching. So I'm just going to go to Dr. Dirisu Naboya's question here. I think it's more of a comment. It says, what do you do when you have leaders who don't believe in team spirit? Sometimes some of them say, it's my time, wait for your time. So do you want to address that?
Yeah, I really don't. I wish I had a response, response for that. But this thing about leadership is really about the person. And it's also about the kind of attitude that the person bring into that room. If you're not able to promote the right kind of team spirit, it impacts your project. But what I would say, as somebody that works in an organization that feels like the leadership is not where they would like it to be, is to really keep doing your thing. Take on, like, self-motivate, take on that self-responsibility that you have been brought into this place to do something, and then let that really, really guide you. But at the end of the day, you really can't help people's attitudes. I hope, Maria, I know that's not the response you're looking for, but I would just say self-motivate and just keep doing the thing, because in the future, when you're growing, it's what you have done and the kind of niche you've cut for yourself that really determines where you're going with your life. So I would just encourage you to just keep doing your thing and just keep doing your work well.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're gonna have another. I think there's a comment here by Gloria on LinkedIn. She says, recognize stakeholder skills and engage them strategically. In fact, I'm learning a lot. All right. That's a good sign. And then I think Mrs. Ekwase commented on what you just said. Lydia, she said, focus on your focus and you will excel. Okay. So these are really, really good comments. So I wanted to just get a sense from, just a second. I just wanted to get a sense from you, Lydia. Thank you so much for your time, because I know you're about to head into another meeting. So can you just give us your final thoughts? Hello, Lydia.
Yes, sorry.
I said, yeah, I know. I just said, if you can just give us your final thoughts, please. I'm having, the banner stuff is kind of jammed because of the network fluctuating. So that's why you still see
That's
the same
perfect.
thing, but we're good. So,
like I said, we'll probably have to do this again.
oh, we're gonna do this again. This not. This not.
Anyways, so as final thoughts is just to say to my colleagues out there to just recognize that what is most important is the kind of attitude that you bring to whatever role that you are in. It's for a lot of times we've had, I've had the opportunity to talk with some people, and then we've come to the conclusion that when you're even thinking in terms of technical skills and juxtaposing them along attitude takes more. Because skills you can learn, but attitude, I'm really glad that I think, Maria, that's the kind of question. The question that Maria raised is really important. You can learn skills, but you can't. They can't take the position of the right kind of attitude. So that's what I want to put out there. Bring in the right kind of attitude. Learn to work with people, learn from mistakes, give people the opportunity to thrive, especially if you've been put in a leadership position. Recognize the kind of skills that people bring on the table and really encourage them to grow. And then just to say to you, FY, that I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for all that you're doing, and I'm really honored that you brought me to speak with you on this day. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Lydia. And though we had some network glitches today, it was just like I felt like there was still a lot of substance, talking about leading large scale projects. And I feel like it even cuts across. Yes, we talked about the development sector, but it cuts across all sectors, talking about communication, talking about having the goal in mind, carrying stakeholders along, having a formidable team that is happy to work on the project with you. So this was really, really, really excellent. So definitely this is not going to be our last engagement together, but we are going to do this again. And hopefully with a smoother network connection. But thank you so much, Lydia, for being here. And this is not going to be our last meeting. We'll see again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, F1. Thank you to your audience. Thank you, everyone.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Take care. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience dealing with our network problems. There was I had a colleague tell me that she doesn't do live streamings because she keeps having network glitches. I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about. My network is pretty okay. But now I'm seeing firsthand experience some of the frustrations that she said she had. But we're not going to relent. We're just going to keep going. So again, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Development Sector Series, which is #Devsectorseries with Lydia Odeh, Chief of Party, Palladium, Strengthening Civic Advocacy and Local Engagement, which is the SCALE project. If you like this interview, please be so kind, click the share button. Let's get this information to as many people as possible. Just a few announcements. We have a grant writing workshop here in Abuja, November 25th to the 26th, 2021. If you want more information about this, please WhatsApp me 0703-539-8086. That's 0703-539-8086. Again, if you're live on Facebook, there's a notification below that asks you to click on the notification to be reminded when we go live. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching, and let's change the world together. Take care. Bye-bye.